This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right? So much success that you have more than one place to be.
5-3, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Swing and a miss. Oregon is headed to the Super Regional.
Fans being out there making this a great impact.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Oh, it's another good week around the University of Oregon Athletic Department. No home events, but the Ducks have some Friday night lights at Purdue. Oregon against Purdue. It's an 8 o'clock local start, 5 o'clock Pacific time, televised on Fox. That means a 3 o'clock Pacific time pregame show for us across the Oregon Sports Network. Just had a few conversations, one with Amari Washington. I'm really interested to hear more on our pregame from Amari Washington as a lead blocker on some key plays. Also a guy who has made some big strides on the Oregon defensive line. That's just one of our interviews coming your way starting at 3 o'clock on Friday. We will do Duck Insider early on Thursday. For those of you that watch the show live from 10 to 11, Jerry and Georgie will be here in the Country Financial Studio, 10 to 11 a.m. that is. Then we'll catch a flight out to West Lafayette. The Ducks and the Boilermakers. Tomorrow on the show, the voice of the Boilermakers, Tim Newton's going to join us, the view from the other side. And I have to tell everybody, my mission during this trip, I'm going to put the investigative journalist hat on. I want to find out everything there is to know about Purdue playing shout in between the third and fourth quarters. There's a connection here that we're going to talk about. Ryan Milano has done some research. I think he'll probably tell you about it at some point. We did some fact-finding with our counterpart, Tim Newton. That's on the show tomorrow. Also today, Brooke Robinson is going to join us, our Assistant Athletic Director for Marketing and Fan Experience, after what was an awesome environment at Autzen Stadium this last weekend. Shout out to the fans for being active participants. What an environment in front of a record crowd at Autzen Stadium. Over 60,000, 60,129 to be exact. And the media frenzy that's come from a win in a game where it was number 2 versus number 3 in the country. What a phenomenal job by everybody to make Autzen Stadium the loudest stadium in college football. And the feedback that a lot of people have given us, have given their friends, lasts a lifetime. Awesome stuff. Now, we're going to hear from Dan Lanning, Oregon football head coach. Also, a day after being announced as the Big Ten Co-Offensive Player of the Week, Oregon quarterback Dylan Gabriel today named the Davey O'Brien National Quarterback of the Week for his performance in Oregon's win over number 2 Ohio State. 4th career National Quarterback of the Week honor for Gabriel. That Autzen Stadium crowd, I love the comment that Coach Lanning made about Gabriel in the crowd, that it was like there was no one in the building the way that Gabriel played. That's quite the compliment coming from Dan Lanning, talking about how just poised and calm and collected Dylan Gabriel was. On the season, he's number 2 in the country at just over 76% completion. His rankings, I should say, tied for 6th in completions, 9th in passing yards per game, and he's in the top 15, 20 in pretty much every quarterback rating so far this season, quarterback statistic so far this season. Also of note, on the heels of a standout week against 2 ranked teams, a day removed from earning conference honors, Oregon junior volleyball outside hitter Mimi Collier has been named the AVCA Game Changer Division I Player of the Week, registered 6 points per set this past weekend. We will have her head coach, Matt Ulmer, joining us on the show today as well. Oregon volleyball head coach, Old Greenbeard, will join us here in the Country Financial Studio. So we got Matt Ulmer, we got Brooke Robinson from our marketing team, and let's start today with Dan Lanning, the Oregon football head coach, his weekly press conference. An awful lot to unpack with the Oregon football head coach as he met with the media last night. Brought to you by the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center, better cancer care close to home. Dan Lanning.
All right. turnaround to a short week. Obviously, a really exciting one for us this past weekend. Again, getting to play an elite opponent and getting to experience, Autzen Stadium like everyone should get to experience. It was really special. Proud of our players. Certainly a lot of moments going back and evaluating the game that we can clean up and make better. That being said, proud of the way our guys performed and now trying to get turned around really quickly and move on to Purdue in a short week.
Will there be any additional discipline for Trayshawn following this spitting incident?
Yeah, one, extremely, disappointed and his actions within the game. There's absolutely zero place, for that in our program, zero place for that in football. I reached out to Coach Dan, and, expressed my frustration in that situation. I know Trayshawn's extremely apologetic. He's embarrassed. He realizes how wrong he was in that moment. And we will handle some things internally. There is some discipline that exists there, but I'm going to leave that for us internally to handle and communicate.
With that in mind, what you saw from Justice Lowe, and if he has a bigger role this week, what can you expect from him with probably the most reps he's going to have seen to date?
Yeah, I think Justice has continued to, prove his ability to help us as a team. When Justice is healthy, he can be a really, really special player, and he's been healthy lately, and that's been. I'm excited for how his role will continue to grow in our offense, as well as some other guys that I think will get opportunities to see their role and grow in our offense. But Justice has done a good job, and proud of his performance so far this year.
After a few days have passed, do you have any more clarity on Jordan Birch and his potential timetable to return?
Yeah, we, again, continue to evaluate it for him, want to do what's best for him. I do anticipate us being able to use Jordan again, but I don't know that that'll be this week. I don't know that it won't. So we'll just keep evaluating that and see what it looks like.
Coach, moving to Purdue, obviously there's been a few teams this season that have come off big wins and have dropped the game for the next week. How do you make sure that Oregon doesn't drop this one on the road with a short week?
Yeah, the key is for us is our process shouldn't change, right? And again, every week we talk about it, regardless of who you're playing. For us, we're always playing Oregon and how we can improve and how we can get better. I think our guys are certainly aware of other situations in college football, and it's what makes this sport so great and so hard is that you got to have to go out there and earn it every single Saturday, every single weekend, Friday this week, and that starts with your preparation during the week.
Purdue had an offensive coordinator change after Game 4. Just what have you kind of seen from the Purdue offense now going forward in these past two games that you're game planning for?
Well, they certainly added some new wrinkles this past game. I know Coach Walters is a phenomenal coach and does a really good job. But what they've been able to do and how they were able to utilize, Ryan Brown in the run game created a lot of different issues. And when there's a coaching change, you're trying to evaluate, okay, who are you going to see, what's going to carry over from the previous offense, what's different and new now. So that's part of our job to kind of figure that out. But they certainly present some new challenges, and will make it tough for us on Friday.
You mentioned briefly Brown's ability to run, but also pretty good debut throwing the ball. Just in general, what did you see? What were your impressions of his first start, and like it went about as well as it could have? Yeah, he's a good quarterback. It's a really impressive quarterback. He's a young guy. Had good command of the system and what they were trying to accomplish. So definitely creates some challenges.
Much of the commentary world has decided and struck you as a genius, Dan, for the 12-man penalty and declared that it was intentional. Was it indeed intentional to induce the throw one-on-one against Jabbar in that spot?
It wasn't one-on-one. We actually had a safety on top. So there was so it's called dog. It's when you play, but he wasn't in extremely tight coverage, but he was in dog coverage where he had safety on top of him. And there was a timeout before that. We spent an inordinate amount of time on situations. There's some situations that don't show up very often in college football, but this is one that obviously was something that we had worked on. So you could see the result.
We talk about victory hangover sometimes, hangover from victory. Is it sometimes easier, though, to jump back into the work on a short week just because you're excited to get back in?
Yeah, football's fun. Football's exciting, so I don't think it's hard for us to get back and get to work. But you do have to squeeze a lot of stuff in a short amount of time, right? And that's the challenge of making sure you're still really consistent and thorough with what matters, not putting too much on your players in a short window. But it's not hard to get excited about going to play football.
Purdue probably didn't have their best game against Oregon State, but when a team faces an opponent that you've already faced, how much do you read into that film, and what are you taking away from that? Or do you more so just focus on the last game to see what's most similar about that?
Yeah, I think, the biggest thing is evaluating where they're at now. And what I see right now is a team that's grown and gotten better and better. I know they've given up a few more points this past week than they had so far this season, but they're continuing to fight. You see a team that's playing really hard and doing some really good things.
Coach, how important was it to have the game that Evan Stewart had last weekend, and did you see the progress of him adjusting week by week in this team and moving forward for the rest of this year with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think I said it before after the game that sometimes you don't know when your number's going to be called. You know, not every play is designed to go to just one person, but I think Evan did a great job of taking advantage of the opportunities when the ball did get put in his direction, and he had opportunities to go make plays on the ball. And there's been some other moments this year where he probably could have had those opportunities, and maybe the ball just didn't go his way. So he took advantage of those opportunities, and I certainly expect him to do that in the future.
I don't know if we've asked you much about Jaden Moore, but that's somebody who didn't play last year and is now finding some role in this defense, maybe more with if Jordan's out for an expended period. What has he shown to earn that role, and what does he bring to your defense?
Yeah, in practice, Jaden's always been one of the hardest guys for us to block. He does a really good job in pass rush situations for us, and has earned that opportunity with the way that he's executed at practice. You know, so seeing that and having guys being down and a couple guys in certain roles, I think that grew his role, and is somebody that can take advantage of that.
What explanation, if any, did you get for the ineligible man downfield call during the game, and what have you gotten since? Because between the misannouncement that it was Tez when he wasn't on the field, and it certainly looked like a not covered up Kenyon, it seemed very confusing.
Yeah, you know, we sent it in, and they told us they got it wrong. So, you know, in the game, they told us they got it right.
I know UCLA was your first technical Big Ten road trip, but Purdue will be the first time that you're facing an opponent that wasn't in your same conference last year. And then some more Big Ten opponents down the stretch that you'll get the chance to go on the road and play this year. What have you sensed any extra excitement from the team at all about, you know, finally going to get to play some of these teams and at places that some of them might not have played before?
Yeah, I mean, this is certainly a venue I haven't been to before. I'm sure our players might feel the same way, but for us, it's always about focusing on the week that we're in. So this is an exciting one for us. Get an opportunity again to play on a Friday night in a primetime window at a place that we haven't been.
We saw Kyler on a boot and on a scooter. Do you anticipate him to come back this year?
Yeah, I don't know the timeline right now on Kyler. It might be hard to see him back this year, but I won't put limitations on him and his ability to get back.
From Purdue's defense in particular, just what stands out about 31 and 4 for what they bring in terms of disruption?
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously 31's a guy that can play sideline to sideline. They play their safety a little deeper than some teams traditionally. It allows him to really play almost like a flat-foot read player back there that can see the ball and react to the ball. And he's a really talented player. He does a great job of doing that and finding himself, you know, around the ball consistently. And, you know, 4 obviously does a great job inside at backer, and then at times even on the edge. You know, they move him around quite a bit to create matchups. So they do a good job. It's hard to know exactly what they're in. They're probably one of the better defenses is at disguising their coverage and what that looks like. So definitely presents some challenges there.
Coach, are there any thoughts about making a change at the kicker position? I know Atticus has had some struggles this season, missed a couple field goals. What's kind of the situation when it comes to the main kicker when it comes to special teams?
Yeah, we chart every single day in competitive situations at our practices. We get a lot of reps at it. You know, Atticus has proven to do a good job in situations given the opportunity, and not always put in the easiest situations to be able to go execute. But, you know, the hold wasn't exactly right for Atticus in that situation either. So you always have to evaluate the whole picture and not just a small subset or seeing it from, you know, the sideline view.
What else stands out about their offense? You touched on a little bit earlier. I know they use their tight end more than some teams. Or are there things there that are unique?
Yeah, I mean, they have a really good tight end. I mean, he's a really, really talented player. He's targeted as much as any tight end in the nation. They do a great job moving him around and creating some challenging matchups there, and a lot of run-pass conflict where there's a run one direction with an RPO or a potential pop pass another direction. So I think that's a good challenge from them.
What did you see from Nico this past week, particularly given the magnitude of the test, and compare that to what you saw from him last year, even going back to the conference title game against an elite receiving corps, and how much improvement and development has there been for a senior in that role?
Yeah, I think Nico's grown a ton, and I think he went out there and competed his tail off on Saturday with, you know, one of the biggest challenges that he's been able to face. And, you know, there's moments there that he won and there's moments that he didn't win, but what you see is a guy that's grown and gotten better and better. That we certainly have a level of confidence in, as well as a lot of those other guys in the secondary that are doing a good job.
Why even mess with the battery on place kicking at all? Like, why have Luke hold when Ross has usually done it, at least early in games before it starts getting uncompetitive or something? Why even make
actually, I mean, Luke's held all year for us this year. He's held all year in practice, so that's not something that's new or different. He's done it so far in the season for us. You know, each kicker usually gets comfortable with a certain guy at holder, and they get a lot of reps in practice at it. But we have multiple guys that can do it, and that's why you do.
That's Dan Lanning, the Oregon football head coach. And next up, she's ready. I told her, I just want everyone to know, this is somebody that works in professional timing. I said come in at 1:14:50, and the door swung open. I looked at 1:14:47. That's Brooke Robinson, the Assistant Athletic Director of Marketing and Fan Experience. She's on her way into the studio. Back after this, more Duck Insider, talking about an awesome atmosphere after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
This message is for Shauna, my mom who just finished her high school diploma. I wanted to say I'm so proud of you for finishing school. You taught me it's never too late to achieve your dreams. I hope to make you as proud as you have made me.
When you graduate, they graduate. Finish your high school diploma for you and for them. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember, back to the land of my first love. Would you spread while you're off for this wayward son?
All right, we're going to need to do the slow clap one more time in the studio. Okay, ready? Impeccable timing. Brooke Robinson is here. Okay, I need to take everybody behind the show a little bit. H.J. Cohn, if you're tuned in, get well soon, sir. H.J. was sick. And so I thought, I wanted to talk about the awesome environment at Autzen. I wanted to talk about Mighty Big Week with so many awesome events, talk about things that happened not just on the field in the court, but beyond. And I thought, I'm going to send a text to Brooke Robinson, who is in charge of marketing and fan experience. And what a weekend for fan experience it was. Brooke, thanks for being here. It's the second time that Brooke has been on the show. We don't have to do the 2-minute life story again, but instead I would love the 2-minute recap of what the heck happened for you and your staff over maybe the last 7 days. Is that a fair question?
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'm ready.
Pull back the curtain a little bit.
Thank you.
Okay, so I had you, thankfully, talk about the Mighty Big Week last week.
Yeah.
And boy, was it a Mighty Big Week for our team.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of home events, kind of wanted to brand it as something bigger, and especially get the addition last minute of College Game Day.
Bigger.
Yeah. Of getting College Game Day, I just think it was an awesome opportunity for our athletic department, but also our university, and was able to work with a lot of the campus staff and everything on how do we amplify these moments. And you get the attention, use it well, right? You get your time on the stage, might as well make an impact. So we had 2 home volleyball matches, we had 2 home soccer matches, we had home cross country, we had College Game Day. How do we make the most out of that? And it's not just the signs out there, it's how do we get our teams involved, how do we get our students excited, how can we make it electric so they want to continue to come back here, just knowing that's basically a 3-hour commercial for your school, and of course, a football game.
Right.
So yeah, some people remember that one. So our team was everywhere. We also decided to come up with a strategic student promotion for the week of how they can attend multiple events and enter to win cool stuff like a signed football from Dan Lanning or a photo with the guest picker. And
great.
Yeah, so really our full team, especially a shout out to our newest staff member, Hayden. She did such a great job. Yeah, Hayden. She had such a great job on coming up with the how can I help, but also let's think of some strategic ways to get students involved. And really, it's easy to look at it and be like, yeah, we were tired and stretched a little thin, but what an awesome opportunity to kind of deliver on that. And I think a lot of people just look at that as the expectation is large, but I think our team really delivered. And I thought it was a really cool way for us to work with departments across campus, as well as, how we're activating our, band and spirit and everything like that to make it the coolest possible environment for a 7-day span. So I think we delivered on that.
It was so cool to see just the buzz around campus. So also I wanted to spend a little time kind of pulling back the curtain on how something like this happens. So students who were at game day, fans who were at game day, you saw some head coaches with donuts. You saw pizza getting delivered. Got to keep the fans fueled up. That all came from Brooke and her team. So on the level of sleep, just today, Marcus Harper was talking about how when the team makes the trip to Purdue, got to sleep. The big secret is to sleep. How much sleep?
Well, I think I can quote Dan in 2 ways this week, but you can sleep when you're dead. Secondarily, shout out to official partner of the Ducks, Celsius, on keeping our team powered through. And also, this is why you came to Oregon, right? For a lot of us, we were all new. We came into it for these moments. We talked about that in May of, creating those atmospheres and talking about those things that the teams in the Big Ten Conference are so proud of. Yeah. Attendance and atmosphere. And I feel like Oregon announced that we delivered on that.
I agree. I mean, so you talk about, too, a record attendance. And also, Brooke and I talked about this off the air, that there is, a vested interest for all of us and the teams when fans are active participants. Okay, so now I'm going to ask the expert to say on the air what you and I have talked about off the air, why that matters and how much of a benefit it was all of last week and particularly on Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, across all of our sports, but especially in football, of just asking our fans to deliver in those moments. Student section, full, 2 hours out.
Well done, students.
I cannot ask for more than that. That was amazing by our student section. I mean, I think Tez mentioned that too, of it was full before they even came out early. It delivers on a special moment like that. So the fact that people were so invested in being there early and being around all day, I think was a really cool way to set the stage for that. I feel like our fans delivered in every aspect. I mean, they were loud on defense before we asked them to. I think the things you saw at about 5 minutes left in the first quarter of that drive there with Ohio State really shows that our fans were engaged, paying attention, really trying to make an impact, especially when we're on defense. I can do all of those things, and the game plan doesn't change for us. But for people to react to the way they did last week and to have college football talking about it all week this week has been really cool to see.
Well, and I want to say, you said, the game plan doesn't change for you, but you are, in a lot of ways, and I've said this on the air about people that are in your chair at various sports, you are adapting, though, as the game's going. Right? You're going to do some things to fire up the fans if it helps the team. I mean, that's a big part of what you're doing all the time.
Sure. I mean, it's a reactive thing for about 6 hours that we're doing of just here's the possible scenarios of what can happen next. Here's what's happened when we're converting. Here's what's happened if we're going to break. Here's what's happening if we're forcing a third down here. Just preparing for all those things and you playing a weird card game of making sure you have something left to use in those big moments, in which we did in that last defensive drive. And I was like, thankfully I saved that. Right. Just knowing too, you got to keep things in your pocket and just hoping that the crowd stays with you, because at some point you worry about fatigue. But I just, our fan base, shout out to them. Just such a cool thing to witness And I've been fortunate to kind of see that at different schools, but man, that was special to see.
Yeah,
Saturday.
that was something else. Brooke Robinson joining us. So we also, and Brooke's been in on this, we have some alternative titles that have been in play for your office neighbor, Jason Harris, the Assistant Athletic Director of People and Venues. He's in charge of ticketing. John Sargent, the head of concessions, the head of hangar management. We have a suggestion for yours.
Oh, we have one internally, so I would love to hear this.
Oh, okay. Then this is going to be great. Well, Ryan is sitting here. Ryan made the suggestion. The assistant AD of people having fun.
Ooh.
That's what you're doing.
That's
people are
pretty
just
good.
having fun, regardless of what happens on the field, on the court. Just people having fun at a sporting event.
I like that.
Will it stick? Do we have a better one?
Do you want to hear what we call it? And I cannot take credit for this. It's Mathis Brewington on our team.
Thank you, Mathis. Thank you.
Atmosphere engineer.
Oh, that's way better. The assistant AD for atmosphere engineering. How do we make this? I'm going to noodle that.
We just don't, we don't put a title with it. We're all atmosphere engineers, so.
That's great. Mathis, well done. That's good. All right, I got to sneak a timeout in if you can hang out for another segment. Brooke Robinson joining us, an atmosphere engineer. Keep it here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear autumn leaves, you won't be covering roads alone this season. Take on fall in the powerful Toyota Tundra or tackle trails in a Tacoma. Head to Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear autumn leaves, you won't be covering roads alone this season. Take on fall in the powerful Toyota Tundra or tackle trails in a Tacoma. Head to Toyota.com for more info. Toyota, let's go places.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never, ever become a minivan mom. So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, know it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
August was born 3 pounds, 9.8 ounces. When I first saw him, it was a whole range of emotions. There's stuff I still want to do. Being a young dad, it's not giving up. It's shifting. I looked through his eyes. I envisioned a whole future with him already. To throw the first football to him, give him ice cream for the first time. My life is now devoted to his life.
Through all of fatherhood's firsts, never stop being a dad. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
You know you make me wanna kick my heels up and throw my hands up and throw my head back and come on now, so good to see you real.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. So, the head of people having fun, an atmosphere engineer, Brooke Robinson, is here with us. Can we get a business card? We need that to be in the email signature at least. Atmosphere engineering.
I'll stop by Paula's desk
Yes,
after this.
this is great. This is great. Well, so again, though, thanks for doing this. I think that it's awesome to be able to shout out people and talk about just all of the buildup that goes into something like this. And then, to that point, there's also things that your team have brought. I think everybody after this week would agree that Dolly Parton has become a wonderful part of the post-game celebration for Oregon football. You have to talk about this a little bit.
Yeah. I'm obviously new to Oregon and new to the Oregon athletics scene, but I was trying to think of some things that were new and like pieces that we could add. I've been lucky enough to be especially when I was at LSU as a graduate assistant, that Call in Baton Rouge was so specific to that city, and I wanted something that people felt connected to. I think it's kind of special that this song by Dolly Parton talks about her not being from here, which I think a lot of our fans, student athletes, people relate to. So I was like, well, I'm going to try it post-game. If someone notices, cool. If
we
not,
noticed.
If not, I'm up there belting it out every game. So at least I enjoy it. I think people think I only play music that I like the whole game. But no, this is like the one thing that I was like, I want to try to find a way to make this part of game day.
Yeah.
And I feel like post-game works. And then seeing it on Reddit after the game was like, this should be a video. This should be like a cool element.
Yeah.
So I think people notice now.
Oh, I thought it was awesome. I mean, it's funny because it was one of those songs that when I was a student, it was like you'd hear it mentioned like, oh, yeah, there's that one song that Dolly Parton sings. And it's like, wait, what? You know, and then so the origin, you know this story better than I do, but the origin of the song, as I understand it, is she did a show here and then wrote a song about it because she got sick, or you know the story better.
Yeah, she was, and I can't remember, my family is going to have a heyday with this, but she was originally traveling with a famous country artist, and she was part of the act. And so they made a stop in Eugene. She had been really homesick. Obviously, she's from Tennessee. She had been really homesick and just had trouble like getting on stage to perform. Finally does that show, and the Eugene crowd gave her 2 standing ovations. She felt really empowered by that. Writes a song about it. Hasn't been performed live a ton, but did finally record it. And so, I don't know, I just kind of related to that of like, it's a special shout out to the city. Yeah.
That's really cool. So, and now it's become a fun thing that you hear when there's a bunch of fans on the field enjoying it, that they'll remember Eugene, Oregon. That's awesome. Brooke Robinson, a couple final thoughts. Basketball season's going to start soon, and as a result, one of the things, like we talked so much about what happens during an event, but your staff does so much outside of events. I mean, talking about some of that with basketball that's coming up here quickly.
Yeah, our team's been working for months now on a couple of grassroots events coming up this month. So I just want to touch on a couple of those. They've got this coming Sunday, Ducks basketball in Portland. So it'd be a cool day to try to ignite that fan base a little bit there, get them excited about upcoming basketball. So they're going to do a showcase at Westland High School. Doors will open at 5. Showcase starts at 5:30. It's going to have things like a 3-point challenge, opportunity for people to kind of get to know student athletes of men's and women's basketball this year, because both teams look a little different than they did last year. So I think it'll be a cool way for people to see them up close. And so there's information on both teams' social accounts right now on how you can kind of register for that. If you're a fan in Portland, totally encourage that. I think it'll be an intimate atmosphere for people to be able to see them up close. And then we also, on the 28th, have here in Eugene, for our fans here, we'll have Matt Night Mayhem, similar to what it was last year, a little Halloween-themed event for not only our basketball teams, but volleyball and acrobatics and tumbling, too, to get kids and families in the area to kind of see them and activate there. So I think that'll be kind of a fun day for our fans in Eugene, but 2 cool opportunities coming up in the next couple of weeks.
Awesome. Brooke Robinson, an atmosphere engineer. Anything else that I missed today, just like on the week that was, shouting out to people that made it happen?
I would love to see us force a few more false starts. Yeah! So shout out to our fans on that. Would love to see that tradition continue in the remaining home games.
I mean, that's the kind of stuff. I mean, you talk about a home field advantage, and it's one of those things that you look at the win-loss record, and that's one way to quantify it. But, man, the penalties in that way in football, that's how you quantify these things. I mean, it's such an advantage when you have a crowd that's like that. Yeah, just absolutely outstanding. Shout out to the fans, active participants, and more fun things in store, I'm sure.
Yes.
Brooke Robinson, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. So I have to tell another quick story. Known affectionately as Brooke Baseball, thanks for coming out of the bullpen today. Appreciate
you're welcome.
it. And I know that HJ appreciates it as well. HJ, get well, buddy. But Brooke, for real, this was great. I think everyone really enjoys what you've done.
Awesome.
We're going to get time out. When we come back, Matt Ulmer, Old Greenbeard, will join us. After 2 wins at home, top 25 wins. We've got Coach Ulmer chatting with us coming up on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you staying? Oh, boy.
Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach, is here with us. No, Brooke.
No,
you
Brooke.
This is great. The first thing that everyone hears, wait, are you staying?
Are you staying here?
Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach. Hey, congrats on the week that was. How are you?
What a mighty great week it was.
Yeah. Hey, take fans through your week if you could, because this wasn't just volleyball going on at home. There was so much going on, and I know you're a coach that loves that community atmosphere that gets behind it. Tell us about it.
Wednesday was really fun. We played SC, and we played great. We played great. And
I think that's the first time that I've ever
heard
you
say that. I thought we
that.
played great. How
about that?
I know.
Matt Ulmer said they played great.
I didn't say perfect, but I thought we played great, and that was good.
Look, you don't want to peak now.
No, exactly.
Peak at the end of the year.
We talked about that today a little bit, but I thought we were very disciplined and defensively, and I thought we had a nice match and beat a good team at home in 3. And then College Game Day came to town. That was cool. And I was invited to throw out some donuts at 3:45 a.m.
Did you actually throw the donuts?
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Have you not seen video? There's video of it. But what got even better was not just throwing. Well, I mean, come on, there was, I don't know how many. There was a couple thousand people out there. I mean, there's a lot of people.
Yeah.
And it was funny because we had a recruit in town, and at 1 p.m. on Friday, we went by the quad, and there was 2 people in line. Mm-hmm. So the first 2 people showed up at 1 p.m. Right? Mm-hmm. And then when I came back at 3:45 a.m., I was like, I need to find them because I took a picture with them at 1 p.m. and then we had a 4 a.m. picture. And they were very thirsty and hungry, but
dedication.
they were doing it. Yeah, they did
dedication.
it. So that was fun. And then we did a little shout at 4 a.m. We did a little swag surf together at 4 a.m. But there was a lot of energy. I was very impressed by everybody.
Yeah, really cool.
Yeah.
And what you and a lot of the other head coaches did, I mean, engaging with fans, like what a cool opportunity that is.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, it really is the best. No, the students they showed up.
Yeah,
it was great. That was fun.
And then
that was the loudest I've ever heard Autzen. And I mean, normally we sit down a little bit, I didn't get to sit down at all.
Good.
That's why I had to leave after half. My knees were swelling up. We had a match the next day. It's like, what are we doing? But our players were there too, and I was like, I sure hope they're not standing this whole time.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they did. So good for them. Everybody's has each other back, but then we had to play Washington the next day, who's pretty good.
Right.
And then we were not so great against Washington. But Mimi Collier was.
Mimi Collier.
Mimi came to play this week. And
Mimi came to play.
I thought she had a really, really great week offensively. Honestly, in all facets, I thought she had a great weekend. She was very consistent, and her and Chris got into a good rhythm, and she had 25 kills and hit a great percentage against Washington, and we needed every single one of those kills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
AVCA Game Changer Division I Player of the Week,
yeah.
Mimi Collier. I thought it was interesting. She said this a couple different times, talking about how she's developed. That freshman year it was just hit the ball real hard, and now her game has just transformed and evolved so much. I felt like that was really on display this past week.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's had 2 matches this year where I think she just really got out of rhythm. Other than that, she's been very consistent. I've been very impressed with all the things you just talked about. She's just becoming a much more complete player, and it's something that we really need from her. And this was the first time in a while where I felt like she just kind of put us on her back and just carried us through. When, again, other people didn't have great days, and it's going to happen, and you're playing good teams, which that's all we do now. We found a way to get it done, and she really led us, and that was really cool.
Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach, joining us. All right, so now Washington, though, not so great, you said, but you got to win. Good to learn after
Washington's good, and that was the first time that they were healthy, I think, this year. They had a really nice outside back, Barton, number 9, and I thought she really made them different. She scored 20 points, I think, on her own. So, good for them. That was a good match for them. And I thought it's not like we played poorly. They did a lot to that, right? They serve really aggressive, and they're in a 6-2, so they had a pretty big block everywhere. It was hard to score against them. And then again, I thought some of our connections just weren't very sharp, and then that didn't help. It was hard to pick them apart because of that. But we hung around. It wasn't, it wasn't feeling good, but we just kept finding a way to hang in there. And then I think we're down 10-5 in the 5th, which is not ideal.
Right.
But we went on a run, and I think, Michelle and Mackenzie went back there and just went on a run and got us back in the game.
Well, I wanted to ask you about the 5th. I mean, you get to the 5th. You're down, but
I
you're
blacked
at home.
out. I don't remember much. I read the recap, and that's what I think I remember is just the score. But
okay,
keep
Matt
going.
Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach.
Yeah. You tell me what happened.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask you just about, and we've talked before. It seems like the last couple years, especially, you've had some 5-set thrillers that. I imagine a coach's blood pressure gets a little high in those situations, but your team has always seemed to respond. You don't want to be down in the 5th, but your team has responded. What is the key to that mentally?
And I think with SC and Washington are generally when we're playing, those 2.5-hour matches.
Right.
And I just think, we're pretty even from a talent standpoint, and they've had really good teams, and so have we, and they're good rivalries, and you're just getting everybody's best, I think. So, we just keep going and we believe. I feel like, especially the last couple of years, I feel like no matter what the score is, we feel like we can come back and get it together. And again, in our sport, we're one good matchup, one good rotation versus their not so good rotation of coming back in a match. And again, we did that twice, right? We got them stuck in 2 rotations there, and that was the difference. You have to execute to make it happen, right? Michelle and Mackenzie had to be really tough serving in our rows 2 and 3, and they were. And then Washington we were finally disciplined on our block and made them make great plays, and they weren't able to. And then again, Mimi kept scoring, and Colby made some really nice plays, and Noemi got the last kill.
We talked about Michelle a little bit.
So I didn't black out. I remember now.
I was going to say that really.
It all came back.
Really
Actually, I think I just
memory.
gave you a point for point.
Yeah, that was good. But so I was going to ask you about Michelle because we talked a little bit about that last week, just the growth. And over the course of the season where you've seen her grow, that was a critical spot where really I thought the versatility showed up for you.
Yeah. I'm not sure Michelle's put together maybe Penn State, the one where nobody else showed up. But I think everybody, she's done really great parts to the game, but maybe not the whole. But in this match, again, everybody's serving her every ball, and she's really coming into her own in serve receive, which we desperately need, and that's what allowed Mimi to get 25 kills is, Michelle was handling the ball as well as others, but, they're really going after her. Her block, they thought they could take advantage of that, and she had some really nice block touches there. Her defense was great, but again, the serving the last few matches, I think she's really found a rhythm, and she's scoring a lot of points and getting back there for a little while.
Serving's always a focus for you.
Well, we got to separate ourselves somehow, right? And so, again, for us, especially against these better offenses, we're just going to keep going with that. We have to make them a little bit more predictable, a little bit more uncomfortable, get the setter off the net just a little bit. And, again, I thought Michelle and Mackenzie did that. And, again, it just made it more so we knew where it was going and we could just set up our defense a little bit better. And just that much pressure, especially in the 5th set on the road, just a little bit. And the crowd was loud. And just made them hesitate a little bit, and that was the difference.
How was the crowd? I mean, did you feel as a
little
coach,
carryover?
Yeah,
I think there's a little carryover. Yeah, I thought people's voices would be gone, but they were loud, and there were some missed serves by Washington at the end where I thought the crowd got in them a little bit. It was kind of like those false starts, where we take a lot of pride, where we're like, we did that.
That's right.
We did that as a crowd, but I felt that
he was
in our
gonna
match.
Get there, wasn't he? He was going to get there.
I felt that in our match. Yeah, it was awesome.
But now, how about the whole week, Coach? I mean, again, as someone who really values the entire Oregon community, I mean, you were kind of
buzz. There was a buzz.
In a lot of ways, you were the start of it, and then one of the bookends to it.
Yeah.
What was the middle like for you?
Great. I mean, so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many people in town.
Yeah.
And then I went on a recruiting trip yesterday, and there was a lot of Ohio State fans on the plane with me, leaving, and good for them,
Yeah.
Happy that they came.
Yeah.
They had earplugs in. I didn't really maybe things were loud. They were probably coming back from that. It was very loud. But just around town, I think the businesses were popping, and so many people around, and it was just a really great vibe.
Yeah.
Campus was really going, and again, I think the students just had a great time.
Yeah. Now, on that note too. Yeah, we talked a little bit about
that was fun. Let's never do it again.
Well, we talked about last week how it was such a unique the way the schedule stacked. You have the back-to-backs on the road, then you have a Wednesday, Sunday. How valuable was that practice time, even in between the two?
I mean, we gave a day off on Thursday. Anytime we can. I think Monday and Thursday we did a day off, just trying to give them a little bit of a break, and so hopefully our bodies are recovered. But this is good. We get 3 in a row here. And I feel like we needed that. We need to get back and just make sure, again, our connections are good and we have trust there. And, again, I felt it was a little fractured, and just reminding the team, like, that's what this conference is going to do. It's going to make you doubt yourself. It's going to be hard. You got to find ways to win when you're not playing great or when it doesn't feel good. And, again, we were able to do that on Sunday, which I think is super important for teams.
So I was curious your perspective on something that we were talking about actually on the football broadcast on Saturday.
Okay.
So every coach wants to have a clean sheet, right? You want to play perfect as you can, right? But oftentimes, really, really good teams force another really, really good team into mistakes. I felt like the football game, if I could use this analogy, it had the feeling to me of like a playoff game, a national championship. It's very rare that you have, no turnovers for an offense in a championship game, no mistakes, because the pressure of two really good teams just leads to that. I feel like in your sport, that's so true as well with the passing. Like we always talk about putting pressure on with passing, putting pressure on with serving, maybe the better way to say it. Like, do you feel that way as a coach? Like at some point you do tip your cap, but then there's that pressure that comes when you have these high adrenaline, these great teams that play each other. I don't know, your perspective on when you have these two great teams, because you play so many great teams here in the regular season.
This is where I think experience is so important.
Yeah.
Right, because the more you're in, for football, for example, the more you're in those games, right, where, again, it feels the energy is so different, right? You can feel the importance of it. You can feel that you have to play your best ball in order to do well. It doesn't mean you're not going to be perfect all the time, but you have to really bring your A game. But the more you get used to that, the less scary that is. You're not afraid of those moments. You're going to go for it a little bit more. You're going to be a little bit more aggressive. You're going to, et cetera. And I think for our group, that's what we are missing right now. We're missing that big game experience from this group. Again, Mimi's had it, Daly and Colby in spots, but really just for a full match, we really don't have much of that. And so, we got Pitt, we got Penn State, we get Wisconsin coming up next. There's going to be more down the road, but we really need to learn from these games and really soak it in and continue to grow in those moments, because those teams aren't going anywhere. And again, we're RPI's 8 right now, right? So we're not far away from, one of those host seeds again, and, for us, if that's our goals, then again, you got to really love those big moments, those big games. You got to be up for them. And going back to your point, the more you get in those games, the more you understand that it's going to be really hard. Right. And so that tests you mentally, emotionally differently.
Yeah.
You can play a lesser opponent and have so much more success, and then you just kind of get used to that success. It came easier.
Yeah.
Against these teams, they're going to stop you. Right.
Yeah.
They're going to make plays. The things
You
that
could do
normally
everything
score,
right.
you could do everything right and still not win, whether it's on defense or offense. Right.
Yeah.
And I think for us, we have to start being not okay. We have to start understanding that that's going to happen. but handle it better, be more resilient in the next one, and just keep going and make them make the toughest play all the time. That's what you're trying to do. And if we do that more times than not, we're going to be more
That's
successful.
where it's such a mental game. All of athletics is often a mental game, right? Because what you're talking about is
there's a huge piece of that.
Yeah, the ability to turn the page, right? I mean, again, physically, you do everything right. It still doesn't go your way. The ability to turn the page and then go to the next point.
And a life lesson, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, life lesson to be resilient. And again, hopefully for us, we're learning some of those. And that's why, again, part of it was Washington was very good.
Right.
Part of it was we weren't our sharpest, so a tough combo, but we still found a way, to be successful. And again, those matches are huge, especially through a season, because again, you start to build more confidence when you can find a way to get it done, even not on your prettiest day,
right,
or with a tough opponent. And you start logging that. And that's the experience that we need.
Yeah. He's Oregon Volleyball head coach Matt Ulmer. Wisconsin coming up Friday, 8 o'clock, and then Iowa Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific time in Iowa City. A little bit of a matchup report, if you could, on Wisconsin first.
Well, we were at Wisconsin last year, and that's where our season ended. So, what a great environment it was. It was sold out, I think, like 8,000-ish. Okay, ish. She has some experience.
Looking at Brooke, because Brooke was there.
Because she stayed
last year.
Remember?
Yeah.
She stayed. But it's a really tough environment to play in. They're very physical blocking team. I mean, they have hitters that are going to go over the top of us. Again, going back to what we were saying, it's not going to be easy. They do so many things well. I would really love to see, once again, that fight mentality, which I thought we did Wednesday against USC. Can we bring that in and understand that it's we're going to have to really execute at a higher level, and you're going to have to really enjoy that. We're going to have to score more points on our own. They're not going to give us many points when we go there, and we'll see again, can we learn from the past experiences that we've had, and be a better version of ourselves. And then against Iowa is doing a nice job right now. They're in the middle of the Big Ten right now, which is tough to do,
right.
And I think that's a really tough place to play. Personally, I've never played there, so looking forward to a new venue. That's a little bit of a drive in between, but like you said, we have a day to recover and get our game plan ready for them. But I think any away win in this conference is important and really hard to come by. So we get 2 chances.
Matt Ulmer, Oregon Volleyball head coach.
Hey.
Always appreciate your time.
Yeah, that felt so serious.
Thanks for slinging donuts, though. That was
no, that was good. I didn't even eat any of them. I wanted to.
I feel like you're more
600 donuts went like that.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I feel like,
and then the Celsius, that was probably, I shouldn't have thrown those probably. Probably. Oh, sorry.
Did you Frisbee the donuts?
Maybe a couple.
Yeah.
But for the most part, there was just so much power in that moment, so much power. But we did it, and we had a lot of good connections.
Yeah.
Was that too honest?
No, it was great.
Okay.
Also, one fan asked, is volleyball averaging 4,000 yet? We really need to know.
No, I think we're like 3.
Yeah.
So people,
we need to
step up. This is going to be
for old green beard.
It's going to be nice and clean.
We need old green beard.
And 3,000 is great. That's great,
it's
everybody.
Awesome.
It's just
shout out to the fans.
You're just not doing your best. That's all. It's good. It's not great. Let's go.
Matt Ulmer, the Oregon Volleyball head coach. I hope to see 7,000 at Matthew Knight Arena.
That would be good.
Let's get that number up so that we get green beard and green hair.
Yeah. Would you do the dyeing, do you think?
You probably don't want that. I'm not very talented in that regard.
Well, I'm assuming we're not doing this for.
I think Brooke's on
we
it.
have a volunteer.
Brooke's on it. Yep, that's right. See, the head of people having fun.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm really into that Dolly Parton song right now, Eugene, Oregon.
See?
Really into it. You've rocked my world. Love Dolly Parton.
Yeah, so good.
I had no idea.
Just talked about this.
No idea.
This is awesome. Matt Ulmer, the Oregon Volleyball head coach. Best of luck in Wisconsin and in Iowa.
Hey, thank you.
We're going to time out.
Appreciate you.
Greenbeard. We're back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
I would love that.
Hey, Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
I want you to know. I said I want you to know right now. You've been good to me, baby. Better than I've been to myself.
Alex Stimson is on his way out of the studio. Great work. Great work, Alex. Quack Video crew did awesome at all of the various events. Alex was all over the place. So many people that made it happen, and then a lot of success on the field, on the court. Ducks went undefeated last week at home. Now hoping to take that success on the road. Again, Oregon Volleyball Friday at 5 o'clock against Wisconsin, and then Sunday 10 a.m. Pacific time against Iowa. Oregon football, I got to be honest with you, this stinks that Oregon football coincides with the start time for Wisconsin and Oregon Volleyball on Friday. So there will be some multi-screening in the broadcast booth in West Lafayette by yours truly, keeping track of everything. I'll probably be getting some texts from Ryan Milano. This is actually the first game where I'm going to feel totally – it's not going to feel right. Because Ryan went on the road with us to Corvallis, and then against UCLA, Kelly Schuchart actually from our sponsorship team, she was in the booth. Now it's the first game where it's just going to be me, Cherry, and Georgie again, and I'm like – feels so lonely up in the broadcast booth. Yeah, I want to know how what it's going to be like. See what happens. Tomorrow on the show, we'll get the view from the Boilermaker side of things with Tim Newton, the voice of Purdue football, and a few Oregon football student athletes with the media after practice today. Thanks for being with us. Go Ducks.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire